Hi all, this is Allmighty and welcome to this video. So today I prepared another miniature for you. To say the least, this is the weird one. We go back to 1935, a very strong tournament in Moscow, a year before from that famous 1936 tournament in Moscow. But still, very strong players. Of course, all of you know about Mikhail Botvinnik, a very strong player, future to become a world champion. And with the black pieces, we have Rudolf Spielmann. For that day and age, definitely a very strong player and a very, among the elite, I would say. But here we have a miniature, so let's see what happens. Botvinnik starts pretty standard c4 English, and Spielmann decides to not go into any complications with knight to f6, go into that variation. So if d4 is pushed, definitely here black is preparing d5. But Botvinnik, keeping the options open, starts with e4. We have d5 and pawn captures on d5. Pawn captures on d5 and now d4. Probably you're all familiar with Botvinnik and his style of play, and he is usually the guy who plays with the black pieces, the Caro-Kann. And this is after the c4, the first move, the exchange variation of the Caro-Kann, and after knight to f6 and knight to c3, we do have the Panov attack on the board. So Spielmann plays knight to c6, and we see bishop to g5, so nothing strange here. And this was the part that was kind of funny to me. So queen to b6 was played, and so since I usually don't play the Caro-Kann, maybe every now and then, but not that often, so I'm not very well versed in the variations and everything. And I really didn't know that this variation is called the Spielmann variation of the Panov attack, or the Reifir-Spielmann, a line of the Panov attack. And it is safe to assume that Mr. Spielmann has played it along a lot of times. So the next couple of moves will really surprise you what actually happened in the game. And here Botvinnik goes into a pretty standard variation, I would say. He plays pawn captures on d5, but in that day and age, okay, Spielmann did play this against, I would say, a few people, and he had pretty good success. But as you all know, all of you who play chess for some time now, the b2 pawn can be very poisonous sometimes. And this is something that cost black the game. But let me just first show you the variation that would lead, I would say, to a very sharp game, but still black would be left with some chances. After pawn capturing on d5, a knight would have to capture on d4. And now here you have to see that bishop to e3 is definitely a move. e5 is the only move that defends it, and of course white goes capturing en passant, sorry. And still there is a double attack on the knight. You have to play bishop to c5. Pawn captures on f7 and king captures on f7. Black's pieces are all developed, white's king is in the center, and the white's king side is still not developed. Bishop to c4 does come with a tempo, so with a check, but still white does need to resolve some issues in his position. A sharp line, but still a one that is played. So this is something that potentially could have happened, and something that arose from the many games played in the Reifir-Spielmann line. But Mr. Spielmann, the guy after whom the line was named, decided to play queen to b2 here. And queen to b2 quite simply isn't the best of idea, because here rook to c1 is played quite simply, defending the knight, and quite surprisingly, I would say, everything holds in white's position. All of the things are defended. Even if knight to d4, the bishop is defending the rook on c1. So what to do here? So since the knight was attacked, Spielmann decides to play knight to b4, put a knight on the active square, but this leads into a very, very dangerous situation for him. Knight to a4 is played, the queen is attacked. The problem with the queen here is that she only has two squares to go to, a3 and a2. Queen to a2 is played, and we see bishop to c4, and you see probably where this is leading. The queen isn't going anywhere. The a3 is the only square that she can go to, so here in this position bishop to g4 was played by Spielmann. But okay, now for a moment you shouldn't ruin your position moving the queen somewhere, or playing f3 for example, because then queen to g2, and on this at the same time, if you capture the queen, black will also capture your queen, so the position would be equal. The only move that prolongs the advantage for white is definitely knight to f3. bishop to f3, and pawn captures on f3. After this, Spielmann resigned the game. Definitely learned a thing or two about his variation, about his line. And the thing is here that after queen moves to a3, a rook comes to c3, and finally the queen cannot go anywhere. So the best continuation here is actually knight to c2, and the queen has to capture the knight, because if rook captures, then queen captures on a4. So after queen captures, rook captures, we do see, white is a piece up, but his pawns are very, very ugly. But on the other hand, as you can see, black's position, he is not at all developed. Bishop to b5 is a big threat. And if you try to stop it with a6, then quite simply knight to b6, and this is a very bad position for black. Bishop to b3 and bishop to a4 is coming with a check. All kinds of threats, king to e2, doubling of the rooks. Yeah, definitely black in a much worse position here. So yeah, this is the miniature. Botvinnik really put a number on Mr. Spielmann and thought him a thing or two about his variation. And yeah, maybe if wanted to maybe go over queen to a3 quickly, it is the same thing. Rook to c3, queen comes here, bishop to c4, pretty much the same thing. The queen cannot go anywhere. So after that, queen to b2 and rook to c1, already white was in a much better position, definitely after knight to b4. So yeah, we had a quick one today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have a suggestion for a miniature of your own, definitely do suggest it in the comments down below. Other than that, I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time.